We're here today to talk about, we're going to try really hard not to hurt anyone's feelings, but we're going to talk about how to be the best client to your consultant. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our last video, I guess. We're recording this last. So my name is Nicole. I'm the co-founder and CEO of A La Mode Branding, and I'm here today with...
I'm Geraldine Convento from Reverence Media.
Hi, I'm Gisel Martin. I'm CFO and co-founder of A La Mode Branding.
So we've talked a lot about how to work with your consultant, how we work with clients. We wanted to have this video so we could share with y'all how you can show up so that way you can make the relationship with your consultant as easy and peaceful as possible. So, Gisel, do you want to kick us off with your advice?
Yes. Well, to start off, we've identified 5 key factors: patience, trust, flexibility, mindfulness, and clarity. It's really important to stay flexible throughout the whole scope of work. Sometimes you may have a contract with your consultant or agency. Sometimes you may set up one-on-one meetings or strategy sessions that are just like one-time meetings. And be mindful of the scope of work, the deliverables, what is in the contract. Your consultant or agency should continuously update you, give you updates of, hey, we said we were going to be here by this time, and it looks like we're ahead. Or, hey, we said we're going to be here by this date, but it looks like we're going to be behind. Keeping in mind that we should allow some flexibility for the deliverables. Sometimes our work is determined on items that our clients give us, or is determined on somebody else completing something or sending us something, and that could change the timeline of things. Sometimes people get sick, people go on vacation, something comes up, life happens for the consultant, for the agency, for the client, and those are things that are out of our control. And so staying flexible in dealing with those things is really important, and being mindful that at the end of the contract, the deliverables will be complete. And if you, for whatever reason, get a little bit nervous or anxious, like, oh my God, I don't think they're going to happen, just ask. But your consultant or agency should be keeping you up to date. I know for us, Nicole is really, really good at keeping track of everything and saying, we said we were going to do this by this time. It's not going to work out. So let's change it to this date. So it's not about forcing things to happen by a specific time. It's about being realistic and staying flexible to the reality of the scope of work.
I think just like Giselle said, clarity is so important, and extending, aside from knowing what the deliverables are, what the role that your agency or consultant is going to play in this whole project or campaign together, knowing how the campaign success is going to be measured. So there's a few phases, and we've talked about this in other videos, which is strategy, and then there's the actual implementation part of it. When we implement things, ideally there should be measurement points, and there's multiple measurement points depending on what your goals are. So some examples of measurement points for the results are gathering data such as impressions, which means how many people see the post, reach, how far it's reached beyond the audience that you're already in engagement with on social media. Also, visits to your website, whether or not you receive inquiries about your products and services, as well as sales. So just keep in mind there are several different ways to measure if there's any progress at all. Ideally, the agency or consultant should look at all of your analytics first so you have a baseline.
Yeah.
And then they can show you, like, you know what, I noticed that this ad or when we did this, it really caused more traffic to your website. Let's do more of that. So the data should really drive where all of the efforts are going to go. Sometimes we'll go into a campaign thinking that one particular method is going to be the best, but the data shows otherwise. So consistently make sure you're clear and ask your consultants in the updates, are you going to be telling me about these measurement points? How often are we going to talk about that?
You both touch on really important points. I feel like I'm just going to be repeating it, but here we go. So I put patience and trust. Patience. I do feel like we are so conditioned as people to we pay money, we get this thing, and that's it. Like we go to the store, we pay money, we buy an apple, we get to eat the apple right away. And so I can see how clients get a little anxious because they just gave this money. Yeah. And it's like, they're like, oh my God, nothing's happening. And sometimes I'm like, it's been a month, relax. So just have patience with the progress. And you can have all those conversations with your consultant before you guys sign the contract of how long you want to work together and those milestones. So that way you can both touch on those milestones over and over again. And if you really need something to be done in 6 months, the contract can be just for 6 months. If the consultant's like, this is going to be a year, making sure you're okay with that contract lasting a year, right? And so that goes back to what we talked about, where making sure you're working with someone that you do trust in the beginning conversations. Do you like this person? Do you think you can work with this person? Because you want to trust your consultant and you want to give them benefit of the doubt. If you have questions, like Gisel said, ask. And be okay with the consultant asking questions. You want a consultant definitely that's going to tell you if things are going to take a little bit longer than projected. And then you both can come to a conclusion of how that's going to work, payment-wise, money-wise, timeline-wise. And just making sure you're okay with staying in the scope of the work. I think that's something we touched on a little, where you signed up with this consultant to work on this one project. And as you're working, if you both realize there's more work to be done, being okay with that you may have to pay more, right? You can't expect the consultant to do more work for the same amount of money. And if your consultant does bring up things that they feel like, hey, we need to add this to make the marketing campaign successful, you can say no. Again, if you trust them, they're not trying to get more money out of you. They just are suggesting hey, we see this big gap here. We feel like we need to address it to have this campaign be as successful as possible. But it's up to you. You have to pay more for those services. So yeah, having a little bit more patience and trust.
Along those lines too is self-awareness, considering that things take time to measure and see if they're even working and maybe tweak the strategy and the way that you implement. If you're expecting results within a month or two, but the consultant is saying, oh, we're projecting 6 to 12 month campaign, then there isn't really alignment there and you shouldn't really move forward. So just know where you're at, especially with your budgeting and how long you're willing to wait. I mean, if you're in a place where you're having a difficult time with resources, being in a marketing campaign that's not guaranteed in terms of results may not be the best fit at that time for you.
And the consultant should tell you that in the beginning, in the discovery calls of okay, your needs, are not going to be met by this solution. We could do this solution and I'm still able to work with you, but we're going to pivot to this type of solution. Or I can't do that solution for you, but I know where you can get that solution. It's pretty sweet and simple. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Wherever you're watching, make sure to comment, share, however you can engage with us. And if you have any questions, feel free to email or DM us. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.